objections from minority leaders. Tambuwal said tension broke out on the Senate floor after opposition members demanded a review of the controversial section of the bill but were overruled, while the initial proposal was for the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to adjust the notice period for elections from 360 days to 300 days. The lawmaker claimed that information available to them suggested that the leadership of both chambers and members of the Harmonization Committee had met and reached a decision that largely reflected the Senate's earlier position. Araba Consultative Forum has observed with dismay the threat to democracy as a result of the controversies surrounding the Electoral Act amendment bills in the Senate and House of Representatives. The forum is insisting no real-time transmission of election results in the proposed law, believing that it will enhance transparency and strengthen Nigeria's democratic process. The ACF's National Publicity Secretary, Professor T.A. Muhammad Baba, opined that the National Assembly was being influenced by external forces and failing to assert its constitutional independence, and appealed to the lawmakers to redeem themselves by taking decisions in the overall interest of all Nigerians. The forum called on Nigerians to pay close attention to development surrounding the Electoral Act bill at the National Assembly, saying that the implications go beyond a single piece of legislation, stressing that what Nigerians are witnessing is not limited to the tax bill. Now it is the electoral bill, saying that step-by-step democracy appears to be under strain as legislature has the constitutional authority to make laws. Muhammad Baba also said if laws that have gone through due process are being tampered with or revisited improperly, then democracy is clearly in danger, stressing that every Nigerian and every civic organization should be concerned, and argued that the current lawmaking process was being driven more by personal, sectional, or external interest than by constitutional procedure. African Democratic Congress ADC has criticized the ruling All Progressives Congress APC over the controversial passage of the Electoral Act amendment bill by the National Assembly. Reacting to the development on Wednesday, the spokesperson of the African Democratic Congress, Bolaji Abdullahi, accused the APC of undermining Nigeria's democracy. In a post shared via his X handle, Abdullahi said the level of impunity displayed by the ruling party was troubling, warning that it should not be allowed to become the death of our democracy, and also alleged that despite having almost all state governors under its control, while the APC was still apprehensive about conducting a free and fair election. According to him, Nigerians would resist any form of tyranny, adding that the country had experienced similar situations in the past. Christian Association of Nigeria has called for inclusive governance, effective policy implementation, and national unity as Christians in Nigeria and across the world observe Ash Wednesday. A statement signed by its president, Archbishop Daniel Oko, on Wednesday in Abuja said the season presents an opportunity for reflection on the state of the nation and the role citizens and leaders must play in shaping Nigeria's future, adding that the country is currently facing significant social and economic challenges, including rising living costs, unemployment concerns, and persistent security issues are affecting communities. Khan said the realities require practical action, responsible leadership, and a shared commitment to finding lasting solutions, and also urged leaders at all levels to move beyond policy formulation and prioritize implementation and that directly benefits citizens. The group also stressed the need for inclusiveness in governance, calling on leaders to be mindful of Nigeria's diversity and ensure government programs reach households, young people, and communities for whom they are intended. And now some in-business reports. Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency NIMASA has reiterated its commitment to strengthening Nigeria's shipbuilding and shipyard development as part of efforts to deepen the blue economy and curb capital flight. Speaking at a stakeholders breakfast meeting organized by the agency themed Dissecting the Issues, Challenges and Prospects in the Shipbuilding segment, discussing funding models, incentives and policy support for shipyards growth, NIMASA's Executive Director Operations Engineer Fatai Taye Adeyemi says shipbuilding remains a capital-intensive, cyclical and technically demanding sector that requires deliberate policy and financial interventions to achieve sustainable growth. Adeyemi, who was represented by the Director Marine Environment Management, Dr. Omar Ofodile, said the breakfast meeting was designed to provide a clear assessment of the structural challenges confronting the shipbuilding segment and to collectively agree on pragmatic funding models, incentives, and policy options capable of driving competitive shipyard growth in Nigeria. Nigeria's oil sector lost an estimated 1.76 trillion naira in potential crude oil revenue due to its failure to meet the production quota set by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries from January 2025 to January 2026. Data from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission said the country's crude oil production fell below the OPEC set target of 1.5 million barrels per day in 9 months in 2025 and repeated the same in the first month of 2026, even as global crude prices remain moderately strong. Cumulatively, there has been a gross shortfall of approximately 18.7 million barrels, while January, June, and July recorded slight surpluses above the quota. After deducting the combined surplus from those 3 months, the net annual production deficit stood at 16.85 million barrels. And also international tidbits. UN Refugee Agency, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, and 123 partners on Tuesday appealed for $1.6 billion to support millions of people in 7 countries forced to flee their homes in pursuit of safety. A statement in Sudan said the 2026 Sudan Regional Refugee Response Plan aims to deliver life-saving assistance this year to 5.9 million people across 7 neighboring countries: the Central African Republic, Chad, Egypt, Ethiopia, Libya, South Sudan, and Uganda. The statement said the plan will continue to prioritize aid for roughly 470,000 new refugees who are expected to cross into these countries, as well as thousands more who remain in border areas and have received only the most basic assistance while the Sudan war erupted in mid-April 2023. With the National Army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces locked in a brutal power struggle. UNHCR's Regional Director for Eastern and Southern Africa, Mamadou Diane Baude, said the need for a 4th annual appeal underscores the relentless impact of the war and the humanitarian response struggling to keep up. Meanwhile, in Uganda, clinic closures and the suspension of critical nutrition programs in Kiria-Dongo settlements put thousands of Sudanese refugees at heightened risk of diseases. Explosion has heavily damaged the church in upstate New York, leaving 5 people dead, 5 people injured. I beg your pardon. The New York State Police confirmed the incident in a statement on Wednesday that gas odor was reported inside the abandoned Life Fellowship Church in the town of Boonville, Oneida County. A firefighter was inside the church when the explosion occurred on Tuesday, and the firefighter and a civilian were critically injured. The statement also said the 5 injured people have been taken to a local hospital for treatment, and there are no signs of any criminal activity involved in the explosion. 9 backcountry skiers are missing following an avalanche in California's Lake Tahoe region. Nevada County Sheriff's Office said 6 others have been rescued after they became stranded in the Castle Peak area near the town of Truckee, while weather conditions remain dangerous with a high chance of further avalanches. Experts from the nearby Boreal Mountain Ski Resort and the Ada Creek Adventure Center are also attempting to reach the site, while an earlier statement posted by the Sheriff's Office said 46 emergency responders had joined the rescue efforts. Australia has barred a citizen linked to the Islamic State IS group from the country for up to 2 years. The person is among the group of 34 Australian women and children who tried to head home after being released from a Syrian camp earlier this week, only to be turned back by Syrian authorities for technical reasons. The ban was issued on advice from security agencies. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke said on Wednesday, adding that the other 33 people do not meet required legal thresholds to be banned. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the families will now receive government support to come back to the country. Ukraine has sanctioned Belarus's longtime leader Alexander Lukashenko for providing material assistance to Russia in its invasion and enabling the killing of Ukrainians. Lukashenko is one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest allies and allowed this country to be used as a springboard for Moscow's February 2022 attack, and Russia has also deployed various military equipment to the country. Ukraine alleges including relay stations that connect to Russian attack drones fired in their hundreds every night at Ukrainian cities. Russia also said it is stationing or are likely to have little practical effect, but sanctioning of state is a highly symbolic move. Ukraine and several Western states sanctioned Putin at the very start of the war, but Kyiv and its Western backers have largely dismissed his attempts to mediate. And now to sports news. Galatasaray midfielder Gabriel Sara has praised Victor Osimhen for his impact in the club's emphatic win over Juventus. This is coming after Okan Buruk's side defeated the Serie A Giants 5-2 in the first leg of the UEFA Champions League playoff tie at the Rams Park on Tuesday night. Sara opened the scoring for the Turkish Super League champions and also registered an assist. Osimhen also played a key role in the win, providing 2 assists, and the striker has so far registered 6 goals and 2 assists in 7 outings for Galatasaray in the UEFA Champions League this season. And now to entertainment news. Afrobeat singer Simishola Kosoko, popularly known as Simi, has sparked controversy after calling for capital punishment for rapists, adding that Nigeria is currently in a sexual assault crisis, with multiple rape allegations being reported in different parts of the country in recent weeks. Reacting on Tuesday night, Simi passionately appealed to citizens and the authorities to put an end to sexual assault against women, while her suggestion of a capital punishment for rapists sparked a debate, with many arguing that the same should be given to forced rape accusers. Simi also said she was advocating for rape victims and not victims of forced rape accusations, which further escalated the controversy, stressing that she was advocating for rape victims because almost all the women she knew have been sexually assaulted at some point of their lives. She argued that it isn't right to stop people from speaking against a sexual assault just because of forced rape accusers, and further urged men to hold their fellow men accountable, claiming that men creating the enabling environment for rapists due to their failure to hold others accountable. Nigerian singers Tems and Burna Boy have broken their tie with South African group Sita as the African artists with the most Billboard US Hot 100 entries. They have previously tied at seven entries each, but Burna Boy and Tems earned new entries on the charts this week through their features on J. Cole's album The Fall Off. Tems has now earned 3 Billboard Hot 100 entries this year with Rain Dance with Dave. Meanwhile, Burna Boy has become the first African artist to have a song on the Billboard Hot 100 for 6 consecutive years. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go and look at the major stories. Okubedo advises Muslims to pray for Nigeria at Ramadan. Tinubu signs electoral bill into law. Democracy under threat in Nigeria, ACF. Nemasa assures commitment to shipbuilding. Explosion injures worshippers in New York church. Galatasaray star hails Osimhen after Juventus victory. Rapists should be burnt alive, Simi. And that's the side of the package. Thanks for joining us. I am Favor Chikwestre Michael. You can follow us on our social media handles on Twitter now X at Atlantic TV Net, on Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram at Atlantic TV Net.